Hello everyone. So I think I'm back to making some videos again. Because I'm really getting back into the hobby. I've had a lot of stressful stuff going on the last many years actually, and didn't have time for the hobby. So I almost came back when 8th edition hit for 40k, but then I actually didn't like the game system. Then I took a break. Then I sort of came back again. Did a little bit of 40k. Really didn't like it. And then I did some hobby projects on the side, just for the stress and the coziness of doing the hobby. Then I got really into A Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones. But I didn't really have any players and also didn't have the time, so that's kind of stalled. Still gonna finish painting them and still gonna play them once they're painted because I refuse to play with unpainted minis. Anyways, fast forward to now. Excuse the Christmas decoration. It's just it's actually past Christmas. It is 2022. I believe it's the 4th or 5th I'm recording this. Don't actually remember. I'm not gonna look at a screen right now because that's not what I'm doing. Anyway, so yeah, in all of these potential comebacks I did, I never really played because with these war games, especially things that can be competitive or can be narrative, I really think it depends on your opponents and their mindsets. So yeah, didn't really feel like plunging back in, but now I'm doing it both for stress relief, and I started playing with an old friend from an old gaming club. It's actually, I think, our 10-year anniversary of playing. I taught him 40k, and then we played in a fantasy campaign. This was 7th edition, maybe 8th edition. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, we decided to try fantasy again, but the Warhammer Armies project in anticipation for the old world. And honestly, I really love Warhammer Armies project. So unless the old world is better than Warhammer Armies project, then all I can hope for is new models for Warhammer Armies project. New GW models anyway. It's so weird. I only want to play with GW models, even though you can 3D print and you can get all kinds of cool things. I don't know what it is with me, but I guess I'm a purist just by, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was a long-winded kind of introduction, but yeah, I intend to make some videos on this channel again. Not sure. I think it's just gonna be for hobby, and if I'm gonna be completely honest, it's gonna be for selfish reasons. It's gonna be sort of a documentation because when I look at my cabinets, which are that way, I'll quickly show those before I sign off. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to remember when you did stuff, or that feeling you get once you finish a unit and can add that unit to an army. I miss that feeling, and I kind of want to document it because it's happening. For instance, there's a unit over here. I'll talk about what I'm doing here. God, I thought I could do some hobby while I talk, but I'm terrible at multitasking. So sorry if I either do nothing or I ramble too much, or both. Yeah, so the Warhammer Armies project, that's sort of what I'm focusing on now. I was painting up some World Eaters because they've been on my pile of shame for too long. Man, I kind of hate painting those, man. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so really into this. And so this Orc Army is something that I've had since I was. Well, this is actually my very first army ever in any wargaming system. But it was when I was a teenager. And yeah, I couldn't afford much, and there weren't that many plastic kits. Like for instance, these orcs, they were pre-plastic kits. Then the plastic kits came, which was great. You can actually tell these are the old plastic kits. Sorry, this one's been stripped. I'll find something else. Also, yeah, these starter orcs, probably nostalgia for some of you guys. You can tell the difference in the plastic color from these are the first stuff, and this is the later stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so I had a lot of metal models in there, and also some that can't legally play because I had 7 goblin archers or something out of metal, and So what I've done, actually, what I did when Age of Sigmar came out, I bought a battle force off of a retailer where I lived at the time, with orcs, just to flesh out my orcs if I ever got back to it. A small part of me actually never thought I would be getting back to it, but here I am. It's happened. Yeah, so I had that to flesh out the army with, and now I've been doing a bunch of, I would say eBay miniature rescues. That's a channel though. Let's call this Facebook Miniatures Rescue, because there's a bunch of groups selling off old miniatures, and they were perfect for fleshing out my armies. And now I can't find the spear that I was going to pin. Great stuff. Oh well. I will stumble upon it eventually and glue some other stuff. Yeah, so right now I'm I'm just gonna keep rambling for a little bit, and then I'll eventually turn off the camera, and I'll make some separate videos at some point. But I guess I should talk about what I intend to do with me coming back. I mean, I've lived all this time, but I guess I'll just start documenting stuff again. And it's going to be mostly that in the beginning. I'm going to document my army build projects, because I have several, as you'll see. Yeah, some unit builds, some conversions. Again, this is not going to be a tutorial. It's going to be for me, but if you guys learn something from it, like I have some ancient tutorials on this channel that are completely meaningless now. Yeah, they apparently they help some, so yeah, we'll see. Yeah, so I'm gonna do a bit of documentation, and unit builds and tutorials and conversions, and army showcases, also for me personally. But I'm not the type to I'm gonna try and eliminate my pile of shame, and I should actually do like a pile of shame video just so I can see. So this is, like I said, the start of January 2022. So I should do one in a year, hopefully, if I keep this up, and I can see how much of that pile of shame has been reduced, or what I've painted, or something. I've seen a lot of guys do that on their channels right now, and I actually got really motivated, and I thought, I was actually just sitting here hobbying and listening to some stuff, and I always thought, oh, I'm gonna clean up the desk, and I'm gonna set everything up nice and have a nice background, and clean the room and set up the light and all that stuff if I'm ever gonna make this video. But then again, this is a documentation of it, sort of a log of what I'm doing. So I'll just start now, and then you know what? Probably not gonna bother upping the production quality, but we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, It's just hobby documentation. It's not. I'm not gonna try and be a fancy YouTuber and have sponsorships and reviews and all that weird stuff. I mean, if I'm gonna have reviews, it's because I bought something and wanted to share my feelings on it. But I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, I'm Rambly. Welcome, guys. Yeah, so I'm gonna do some army showcases and yeah, project overviews. Right now, this is a mess. Like I said, I was just sitting here hobbying. I was not trying to be neat for camera. I just put a desk lamp here because it's also getting dark, and found my tripod, which is standing. I hope I'm not knocking the camera, by the way, because it's on a chair and some cases. So really sorry, but I suspect if any of you are watching, you're just casually watching while doing hobby. So I'm not gonna be too sorry, I think. Alright. I was googling some stuff. Yeah. So yeah, army showcases, I think I'm gonna I haven't figured out the format. Like I said, it's not gonna be that formal, but think what I might do one of these days is set up my entire, because right now I'm really focused on my Fantasy Orcs and Goblins army. I think what I might do is set up the entire army, the unbuilt stuff / in progress stuff, the finished stuff, the stuff that's gonna need repainting, because yes, there's some of that, or rebasing. That's a thing. Yeah, I'm gonna set up things for that, like in the entire army. Just go over it, because then I can see sort of the state of it right now, and then I can do an army update, and then hopefully one day I can do an army showcase where it's all painted. So there's the topic of battle reports. So I have a couple of friends that I play with. Only one guy I play fantasy with. We actually did some battle reports way back when, those 10 years ago or something. Now, they weren't in English, and they're not on this channel, thankfully. But I think he might be up for doing some again, and in English. So yeah, that might be a thing. I haven't talked to him about it, and I'm not gonna, force him to it or anything, but I have a feeling it might come up organically if I mention that I've started documenting things again. Yeah. You stay on there. Yeah, I guess that's the gist of what I wanted to say. I guess I should stop hobbying so you guys can get a feel for what is to come, and don't make this an hour-long video. Yeah, I should talk about that. Tease it so someone watches this. Again, don't necessarily have to. It's mostly for me. But, if it can help other people, then that's fine too. Yeah, so anyway, fantasy armies. My projects are Orcs and Goblins. Right now I'm trying to do a sort of orc detachment, because that's actually what I liked most growing up. The orcs, the big strong guys, but I never really had enough to field an army, let alone like a solid block of it. So that's happening now. So I'm painting up 1500 points of orcs with one unit of night goblins in here, because I had them painted. I just needed to highlight them and rebase them. So they're getting in there. Then I have a Britonian Army, which I did for the campaign I mentioned. I did it from scratch, and that was back when you could still get the kits for it. I think it's entirely core, except for 2 units that are not core, and it's not the fancy knights, the Grail Knights or the questing knights. So yeah, only basically had archers, Knights of the Realm, and men-at-arms, and I don't have enough men-at-arms. I want more. Yeah, so I bought a bunch of old stuff. I've actually just stripped them. There, well, only a couple of these because this is my last batch. That's why my hands are dirty as well. Yeah, some knights. There's a couple random men-at-arms in there. I don't think he knew what that was when he sent it to me. Yeah, there's also some goblin stuff here because I needed some goblin fillers to bulk out the units. So yeah, there's a Britonian army. I actually did a paint job on it then, and the basing is terrible. And I've changed my mind. Back then, I wanted to do like a uniform army, like it was. Yeah, they're all from the same lord or something, but it's always the problem. Whenever I do something custom, then I get more and more into the lore because I get more and more excited, and it's like, yeah, this is not right. So yeah, I'm gonna repaint it, but not strip it and repaint it. I'm gonna try and paint over it. And I never really finished highlighting it either and stuff. So there's a bunch of work to be done on the Bretonian stuff. But right now I'm just the orcs are so nice. It's I can batch paint like 20 orcs in a night or something. It's so quick. I love it. So I suspect this won't take as long as you think it would, and then I'll come back to the Bretonians because I can actually field about 15 or 1800 points of those right now without spamming stuff, without spamming magic items and whatnot. Then I think that's it for my fantasy. I have a few bits and bobs, but definitely not an army. So those are my 2 fantasy armies. Then I have orcs in 40k, and until maybe 2 months ago, I had reduced that pile of shame. I had painted every single model I had, and it was so great. And then I rewarded myself by going on to Forge World and picking up some stuff. And then my girlfriend gave me some of the new Beast Snagger stuff for Christmas. So the pile of shame is back, but it's manageable, and I kind of want to eliminate that, but not in a speed painting fashion, because I bought a Squiggoth, not the Gigantuan one, but the Squiggoth, the tiny one. I want to take my time with that, and I have been taking my time to build it and fill gaps and pin it and stuff, but yeah, that's going to be a project. It's going to be fun. And then I had the World Eaters. I was trying to eliminate, like I did with the Orcs, like eliminate my pile of shame completely. And I was almost there, but then Fantasy happened. So that's on hold. I also want to finish that. I think I have 7 Terminators left. I have less than 10 Berserkers left. What else do I have? I think I have some Possessed and maybe 5 Raptors left, so I need to do those. And they're in various stages of painting because I was trying to batch paint some of it. But yeah, it's manageable. I'll get back to it. Then I have 2 armies of Imperial Fists, 40k and 30k. I don't think I'll touch my 40k again. I'm one of those grumpy old wargamers that cannot stand Primaris. Like, I love their proportions, and they could have done so many things in the lore, and they chose the worst one possible. And now they're trying to retcon it through the heresy. There's this one story that might convince me, but oh Jesus, it was done for the money and for getting kids into the hobby, that's for sure. Yeah, anyway, I'll come to terms with that. I do confession time. I have 7 Primaris models, and I'm gonna finish painting them at some point. I just wanted to see how the paint scheme looked on those. I might change my mind. I might add some intercessors or assault intercessors, because those I kind of like, but I played them as true scale Marines or something. Yeah, I don't know. Then I have my 30k. I was starting painting that. The only reason I stopped was because of this, but I'm definitely coming back to that because one of my good buddies, who's probably also up for doing some battle reports. He's also doing his 30k and 40k army word bearers, both. In fact, he has several different heresy armies, so that's cool if that ever happens on camera. What else do I have? I have some, like I said, Song of Ice and Fire. I have a pretty large Stark army and a Lannister army, and some Boltons / neutrals, and a whole bunch of characters. Again, if you watched any video in this channel before, this last sort of stuff I did before I stopped posting videos was Ice and Fire, so you know about that. I got some more units since then, but yeah. What else do I have? I have a small Tyranid force. And when I say small, it's definitely sub 1,000 point, maybe sub 500 actually. Probably. I kind of want to add a few units to that to make it sort of a house army or for campaigns, because I love doing narrative campaigns and stuff. So they might be a surprise foe in a mission or something. Yeah. Then I have some other games in terms of painting. It's not really wargaming. I have a game called Super Dungeon Explorer that has a bunch of miniatures. I was close to finishing painting that, then I also stopped because I stopped playing it. You know how the board games go. You play them a lot and then you go on hiatus because you played them a lot and stuff. But yeah, I've convinced some people to play that with me from time to time, so now I'm motivated to paint that. And then finally, what I'm looking forward to, but I've told myself not to do before I get all this done, is so this is my first fantasy army. My first 40k army was Imperial Guard, and it's in shambles and bits and bobs, and the vehicles are a mess because they just wouldn't stick, because I tried using super glue when I was a kid, and then I tried hot glue, and yeah. Now I know about pinning, and I know about plastic glue and super glue and what they're each good for, and green stuff. So I have to admit, coming back to this and there's so much stuff that needed fixing. Like I have a metal Wyvern model. Pinning that, because I've never played a single game with it in one piece. Pinning that, and I've actually dropped it, and it's held. Like, fixing these childhood mistakes is, it's just medicine for the soul, and I'm looking forward to doing that with my Imperial Guard, but I'm not going to touch them until most of my other stuff is in pretty good shape, and it's actually going pretty quick. Yeah, this video is probably going pretty long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to point the camera towards the my cabinets, do like a quick pan, and then I will, at some point, I'll talk about this stuff in more detail. I'm not going to spill all the beans in one go, because some of the armies just have a few models that I need to finish up before I want to do a proper video and stuff like that. So yeah, let's do that. 23 minutes. I hope the audio is decent. All right. Right, so this is the fantasy mess of a table. I'm gonna keep you on the tripod, so it's a bit weird. This is on my phone. Yeah, so basically all this stuff right here just need either basing or finishing basing and some highlights, and then all of this goes in the cabinet on the completed stage. And this, some of this is completed, some of this is not. It's all just here so I can figure out how many I actually need, because I tried noting it down, and there's discrepancies, and I actually didn't have the bits I thought I had and whatnot. So this is my very work in progress stuff, but actually the last work in progress stuff of my Orcs and Goblins. I bought a Rock Lopper, another Spear Chucker, I have one. There's a unicorn, what's she called? Morgana Le Fay, for my Bretonians. Some stuff I found, a bunch of Night Goblins I need to finish, some Snotling bases. I have way too many Snotlings for some reason. An ancient pump wagon. It's gonna be a bitch to pin that. because I will need to pin it because they always fall off. Yeah. So that's that. Some more bits that were washed. So let's see. Let's start over here. Yeah, I also have a bunch of X-Wing. Actually, so these cases, this was my filming stand. Those are completely filled to the brim with X-Wing. First edition. I stopped playing when the second edition came out. I just didn't have time and I moved country and stuff, so I never caught up on it. Yeah, so my X-Wing, just a few display models left. The Super Dungeon Explorer I was talking about, just a mess because I'm still reorganizing my cabinets. Sorry if the light is blinking. Bulb is acting up. So yeah, there's actually some finished trolls up there and another orc. Then there's a bunch of Bretonians. Like I said, I painted them in a uniform color. Just get a sneak peek. There's a whole bunch of knights in there. You can't see the last row because it's so dark. Yeah, so my orcs that I'm currently working on, actually not a single model in there is finished. They're basically base coated and washed. They're not based or anything. And my 30k Imperial fists, it's totally not focusing. Does this help? I don't know. Yeah. And maybe if I do this, I'll play with the camera settings for next time. So yeah, basically first company stuff plus some unpainted stuff. First company and characters. Then there's fifth company, assault, devastator, tacticals, scouts, 10th company technically, work in progress stuff. Here's my armory vehicle pool, 6 dreadnoughts, some speeders, rhino chassis stuff, some drop pods, and my Achilles. So here's primarily Stark, here's Lannister, random stuff, and work in progress stuff. Knits and orcs, 40k orcs. So here's my tiny Squiggoth for my 40k orcs. So all the bigger orcs. Then there's the troop-ish orcs. Then the vehicles, the armory, whatever you call it. Then there's some world eaters going on. And way more world eaters. And like I said, I have more coming for both of these that are not in the cabinets. So I think, oh yeah, then there's also a big pile of shame of terrain that I'm basically gonna do, at one point I'm gonna do like a weekend with a buddy and we're gonna paint it all up. Or with my girlfriend, she actually painted some of it. It's great. Yeah, so we're gonna do that. But yeah, I think I'm gonna sign off for now. I could talk for hours and I'm gonna keep doing hobby after this video. I might record a second one, but I think I'm gonna wait until I have something concrete in mind. Yeah. So hopefully you watch again at some point. But if not, thank you for watching this long. I'll stop it here. Bye, guys.